Welcome to Ignite Interviews. I'm Cyndi Donahue. I'm very excited to be joined today by Erin Haskell Gourde from Design for the People. Welcome, my friend.
Hi.
I should say my bestie because
yes, we're on the bestie level. That happened a couple years ago.
It did.
Don't forget that.
I will never forget that. That was a really great story. We were up at, where were we again? We were at the lake.
Okay.
We were at the hills.
Oh,
late,
yes.
Late in the evening. And you came up to me and asked me a question.
Yes.
And it was professional related.
Yes,
and
it was.
And I thought, who is this lady? And what is she talking about? And then later we met for tea. Maybe 2 months later you called me. And I was really unsure. And then we met. And within about...
What were you unsure about?
I just was like, what is she about? And then within 2 minutes, literally, I was
who's
like,
this crazy person?
Exactly, but crazy awesome.
Oh, okay.
And within 2 minutes, I decided you're my best friend.
Oh, okay.
And
well,
so
great.
I love that you call me bestie too. It makes it great. So have you always just had amazing style? Is it just something about who you are?
Well, I mean, I don't know about that, but I think that I've always been really a curious person and always wanting to push sort of the limits. And, I always, thought about things differently than other people did. It took me a while to realize that, but because I always thought people just thought the same way I did. But yeah, I've always sort of wanted to push the boundaries a little bit, when it comes to style and like taking something and making it your own, switching it, tweaking it. We call it stealing like an artist a little bit. So, I mean, yeah, I always enjoyed style, whether it be in architecture, in clothing, in cars. I love industrial design. I guess it's sort of always been in me.
But you haven't always been a professional designer. How did that start, or how could it come about?
Yeah, well, so let's see here. I've always been into art. I mean, my mom was an art teacher, so I've always had, that was always my favorite subject in school. It came really natural to me. But I was always a really curious person. So I first went into school in journalism, and I always thought I wanted to be on Anchor News. Can you see it?
You should be. There's always more time.
And so I did that, University of Arizona. Any wild kitty cats out there? Tucson. And so I graduated in journalism and marketing. Although marketing's totally changed. I feel like an ancient, 95-year-old woman when it comes to that. But anyways, and then I actually went into journalism, and, I realized it really maybe wasn't for me as I maybe thought, but I loved being so curious about people. And I loved, I always wanted to know the why and, what's really underneath that. So I think, in order to be a designer, I've kind of put the two together. A therapist and journalists are kind of, natural designers because we're problem solvers. So we want to understand the problem. That's what I would say.
So what is the why of Design for the People?
Well, Design for the People, I've been in this business, so you're right, I haven't been always a designer, but I went back to grad school when I was 27. So I've been a designer for about 10 years now. And so what I realized in this business, like in a lot of businesses, is it's really about the people. I mean, it's really, truly about, my clients, about people I work with, my vendors, because we're really designing for that specific person. I mean, you can say that you love a certain style, you like a certain vibe, you're drawn to a certain aesthetic, but it's really about understanding what the needs and wants of that individual or people, and trying to solve their problems. And so for me, that's really the why. It's not just about making something look good, because that's, what might look good to someone isn't look so great to another person. It goes beyond that. It goes beyond just aesthetics.
Well, it's a space that you want to live in, and it's also, like you said, it's therapy. I mean, going through a design project, you need a therapist. So
big therapy sessions, especially in residential.
And so finding the style that is someone that is that individual person.
Yeah, and it's really about, first of all, getting the functionality down, of how you're trying to always be better. I mean, that's the thing. You're always trying to live better, be better. So we want to create spaces, whether it be work or at home, where you can truly be your best. I mean, that's the problem that we're always trying to solve.
That's a good problem. As you know, you need to come to my house. So what makes your design method unique?
Well, I think it's just that. It is about the people. So it's really understanding the needs and wants of that individual, that family, that business, that team, understanding their problems, number one, and what is not working. And then from there, really taking the steps, what we call in the business programming, of really kind of getting underneath and trying to understand, how they can be their best selves. Like I said, in whether that be residential or commercial. I started design for the people 3.5 years ago. So, and it's just totally rang true, but it's really about the people and who we work with. I used to kind of say yes to everybody. and sometimes you're just, you're not a good fit, especially in residential, because residential is very emotional. Commercial is sometimes not as emotional. You can take that emotion out of it. Some people just want it done. But yeah, I would say that, that I think that's what really makes us different. It's like, to me, it's really easy to make something look cool, or to make something look, in cutting edge, trendy, to make it look amazing. That's easy. What's not easy is about, designing for that certain individual.
And it's I'm assuming, it's probably not just about where they are right now in the moment that you are creating, but it's also trying to understand them in a way that it's a space they want to be in and live in for years to come later.
Yeah, and they can adapt to it, or it adapts to them and vice versa.
So maybe we should back up just a little bit.
Okay.
So what does Design for the People do?
We are a design firm focusing on interiors. We do exteriors now, though, too. We have architecture component, but mostly we're interior design firm specializing in residential and commercial. And then we just opened, this is the big news, a 5,000 square foot showroom in downtown Spokane.
So you started really small because you're you.
Yes.
So tell me about the space.
The space is an old warehouse. I mean, it truly was. It's called Spokane Warehouse, and it's a really amazing building. When I walked in, I actually walked into it like 6 years ago when it was being purchased, and I just, I've always liked it. And so we've just been looking for that really, special place. And it's an energy feeling, when you walk in, and it's funny because in Spokane, you always have to have the perfect parking, right, or it's not going to work. But it's a great space. It has such great natural light. And so we just opened in late November, and we're open to the public every Friday, and then by appointment only.
And so
our studio's there, and then we have a shop component of it.
Got it. And so if I wanted to come in, I could come on a Friday and look at all the interesting, and I have been in, as you know.
Yes.
I love all the prints on the wall and the fuzzy chairs and the, the cool tables and the interesting looks that you have for everything. So how has it been creating your own space? I mean, for you, that's design for the people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're different in the sense of, a normal or a regular furniture store that people are used to. I mean, when people go to furniture stores, they're, normally used to, what's normal, right? But going to a furniture where those are where all the sofas are, and those are where all the tables live, and those are where all the dining room chairs are nestled, So you kind of like, okay, looking for something, and you look at all of them, and which one do you like best? And this is a little bit different, where we really, lay it out in a vignette type of way. So it's really picturing, oh, I never would have thought about that piece, but seeing it in a holistic way of, this next to this sofa with these chairs, with this art, with this lamp, with this rug, you're like, I would have never thought that, but I love that. And so it's really about kind of pushing the boundaries, and in maybe a way that you didn't even think about.
So other than creating a 5,000 square foot new space, what are some of the obstacles that you face as a business owner?
Oh gosh. Well, I mean, it's a new concept, right? So you don't, especially for Spokane. So that's always a risk, but I think Spokane's ready. I think Spokane's been ready for a long time. People think that they need to go to LA or New York or Seattle in order to find, good furniture and good style, but they don't. And I think people are ready for it. So I would say that's the challenge of, doing something that's really never been done before. But I believe in Spokane.
Why is Spokane the place? I mean, you grew up here, right?
I grew up here. Yeah, I left for about 11 years-ish. But, I came back for grad school. So I came back to WSU, got my master's in interior design at their School of Construction, which is a great school. At the time, it was in Spokane. Now they've moved it back to Pullman. But, Spokane, I call it toyland.
You call it what?
Toyland.
Toyland. Playtime.
I do. I just feel like you can do whatever you want here. Like, truly, it's your playground, You don't have to be afraid. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? It's not like the rent, is like, you're not going to die or something if, it doesn't work out or, you're not going to be. So, it's not like where you're taking out, you're essentially like buying a new house, in other cities where it's like that risk is so much more. So I feel lucky in that respect. But no, there's just a good sense of community here. And I think Spokane's changed a lot. And so, yeah, but I always call it Toyland because I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like it's endless opportunities here. That's what I would say.
Well, and I think that's also your personality. I mean, not everyone is as bold as you are. And so I think the risk isn't so much a business risk here as it is putting yourself out there. I mean, you've really put your concept of, something innovative and something different and who you are out there in a way that maybe hasn't, like you said, it's new to Spokane.
Yeah, it's new. And maybe I just feel comfortable here. There's probably that too. So maybe there's a little bit of that. But, Spokane is they always say it's going to really ignite.
And take off.
Take off. I think it really will. It really has, sort of the perfect of a lot of things. A lot of my friends in big cities, they kind of, they look on Instagram or whatever, but we can do a lot of stuff here, which is great. You have the lakes and the mountains, and we have that really awesome downtown feeling too. So I think it's a great place to live. Yeah.
So being big, being bold, enjoying your toyland.
Yeah.
Hopefully always being my bestie.
Oh yeah, yes. I'll always be your bestie.
Yeah. One of my favorite things about you is that you are always so much who you are. And so it's really cool after seeing the new studio and seeing your space, it's kind of like watching you expand and watching you come to life. So what do you think's next on the horizon for you?
Oh gosh. Well, I love designing products as well. So I think the next on the horizon is, I've dabbled in, not only the wide world of furniture, because that is like a whole nother world in itself, but it's really getting together with these companies and actually designing the furniture and making them our own line. So, because there's always things that, as a designer, right, you look at something and you love it, but you want to tweak that one thing about it, or, you want to look at it a certain way, and your clients are constantly saying, I love it, but, and so, that's always really fun. So I think that might be next, but I still love designing spaces, and also we want to grow as a company, but we don't want to get too big. I always want to remain a designer. I never just want to be like a boss. I think that would be, for me, that would be hard. But, so yeah, That's what I would say.
You're a creative person. I mean, it is just who you are, and that's part of the fabulousness of you.
Well, thank you. That is so nice.
Well, I'm always glad to spend time with you. I'm excited that you came on the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
And so if somebody wanted to reach out to you, should they do that through Instagram, website, all the normal ways?
Yes. Instagram at Design for the PPL. But I mean, hopefully by this airs, we'll get a new website, because that's always the pain point. But yes. Instagram's great. You can always email us, info@designfortheppl.com, to make an appointment for the showroom and stop by. We'd love to have you. I know, COVID's a bummer, but we have a really big space.
Yeah, it is really fun to come in and see. So hopefully everyone will do that. Well, thank you again for coming on.
Yes, thank you.